Iran's Khamenei launches blistering attack on Trump after Middle East visit. Okay. Adam, I think you shared this clip with us.
Yes.
And so here's a clip of Khamenei. And Brandon, we double-checked that this happened on the 17th, so it's not an older video. This is a video from the 17th. He is talking about the Trump and a nuclear deal. So, and there's an audience in front of him. You tell me if this sounds like a noble group of people that you want to negotiate with. Go ahead, Rob.
بعضی از این حرفایی که در این سفر رئیس جمهور آمریکا به منطقه مطرح شد لایق جواب دادن نیست اصلا.
Death upon America. Death upon England. Death to the hypocrites and infidels. Death to Israel.
Seems like a good vacation.
اینقدر سطح حرف پایینه که مایه سرفکندگی گوینده حرف و مایه سرفکندگی ملت آمریکاست. اونا رو کار نداره.
Pack the bags and go to Iran, kids.
یکی دو جمله رو باید روش توجه بکنیم. ترامپ گفت که میخواد از قدرت برای صلح استفاده کنه. دروغ گفت.
You can pause it at this point. I just read the story from 2 hours ago, 42 minutes ago. Iran's Khamenei slams outrageous U.S. demands on nuclear talks. And he says, I don't think nuclear talks with U.S. will bring results. I don't know what will happen. He doesn't think things are going to get done. Do you know what is the first country to voluntarily give up their nuclear arsenal?
Voluntarily?
Voluntarily. What is the first country to ever voluntarily give it up?
Was it Iran?
South Africa was the first one to do it. They were the first ones to come out. You know, when it comes on to something like this, I got a lot of thoughts here, but I'll go to Adam first. Adam, your thoughts on the story here.
Well, listen, rule of thumb, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. What are the chances that they just said that chant, death to America, death to the infidels, death to England, death to Israel, basically death to the West? What are the chances they said that for the first time? All in unison. Something tells me, PBD, they've been chanting that nonstop
since 79
for 45 freaking years. And this is what you're dealing with here. So when someone tells you who they are, believe them. There's two different approaches that they're thinking about with the Iranian regime. There's, let's bring them into the global community. Let's bring them into the fold, and let's try to make them part of the world order of the community of nations. Okay, there's that. We saw that Trump just went to the Middle East. He met with Saudi, he met with Qatar, he met with UAE, he met with different leaders. Obviously, he has for the most part, good relationship with Bibi and Israel, but despite what people say. So then you have the second camp that's like, you cannot negotiate with these people whatsoever. We talk about indoctrination, we talk about Islamism, we talk about jihadism. This is the tip of the spear for all of that. Who's funding? Who's the big boss of terror around the world in the Middle East? Well, it's Iran, is it not? The Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, all over the world. Who's funding this? This is Iran. So the question is, do we try to do a nuclear deal with these people? And then the last time we do, there was an infusion of cash, how many $1 billion? Or do we not try to do a nuclear deal with these people and let them get a bomb?
What do you think?
In my opinion, you cannot let these people get anywhere near a nuclear bomb or nuclear warheads, period. So the third option is, and nobody wants to talk about this uncomfortable fact, so do you give them the nuclear option but no money? No. Do you give them money but no nuclear, so they're just going to take that money and sow discord and terror around the world? Or there's a third option, which we've done in Iran before, PBD, as you know, and that is regime change. And that is a very uncomfortable conversation to have. But I think it was Mossadegh that the United States basically uninstalled the democratically elected leader that was in, the 50s, I want to say?
He was the Bernie Sanders of the 50s.
Okay, so they elected a socialist, essentially, in Iran, and then they replaced the Shah, I believe.
Yep.
So now we saw what happens. Here's the problem when U.S. plays regime change. Like if you see this in Libya, if you see this in Iraq, you don't know what's behind door number 2. You see in Syria right now, they just, there was quote unquote regime change with Bashar al-Assad. Now there's an Islamic terrorist dressed in a suit who's the new president and we've lifted sanctions. Okay, we'll see what happens to this guy. Here's the difference in Iran. We know for a fact that whatever is behind door number 2 in Iran is not worse than the current regime. Is not worse than the current regime. Whatever is behind door number 2 cannot possibly worse than what's going on with the Ayatollahs and the mullahs and the jihadists in Iran. So, in my opinion, I don't know how you get regime change there. That's the CIA's job. If there's oil or democracy to spread, the CIA will show up somehow. But the people of Iran deserve so much better than this. Last point, to anyone out there that thinks, especially on the far right or even the far left, that thinks Iran is not a threat, just look at the evidence. There's evidence that they did try to assassinate President Trump. This is full-on evidence. They've attacked U.S. military personnel. U.S. soldiers have died by secondhand or even firsthand Iranian threats. So anyone thinks that they are just a, casual Middle Eastern threat, that they don't have big jihadist intentions, you get another thing coming.
Tom.
Yeah, I look at this and the red line that the U.S. wants to keep right now, it says there will be no uranium enrichment. That is the red line. These people, look, why do they want that program? They want that program to do exactly what they say they want to do. And it's horrifying. It's horrifying for the Iranian people that are there. I'm not talking about the radicalized people that are there. That's not the whole population. There's a lot of people over there that are living under this umbrella, and it's tough for them. And you can't allow it. You can't allow them to sow terror. Number one, you got to stop that. And then you can't allow them to enrich uranium because you know what they're going to do with it. Beware the man that is afraid to die in a suicide, who's armed with a weapon like that. Now, I do find it interesting that guys like this guy managed to grow very old without committing suicide, and yet they encourage a whole lot of other people to do so. I find that irony to be a little interesting. But
bless our martyrs.
Right,
Vinny.
I mean, how do you deal with somebody that's saying stuff like what we just saw? But by the way, I know it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad. But I mean, instead of war, what do? Instead of literally going in there and bomb, you can't just go in there and bomb them because that's not, especially not with diplomacy. That's not what Trump is about. You got to keep them isolated economically, right? Hard on sanctions, all that stuff. Pull their funding. I'm. What else do you do to stop these people? Because that's not going to stop. And if there's any way for them to get into this country, to do something bad to this country, they would do it. So what's the solution without war? That's my question. I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like how
so
do we
you think war is maybe needed in this one?
No. I don't want war. I don't want them to have nukes. If somebody's saying death to America, death to the infidels, that type of rhetoric from the leader, something has to be done. But I don't want it to be war.
Okay.
So what my question is, how? But with that, on top of Pat aiding the internally to have a resistance, because it has to be the people, right? They have to do something for themselves. Am I right?
Meaning the
actual people
Yeah.
that aren't brainwashed like that want to kill America, see America
It
die.
is. I mean, what Trump is doing when he goes to the Middle East, he's trying to show everybody, guys, we can do. Trump said, I'd like to see people being able to do business in Iran. It's 80 million people that you have access to. Why not be able to do business with them? Well, you can't because of people like that are preventing others of being able to go there and do business. Who can go do business with those guys? It's a different situation. So, it could get very, very nasty what takes place. I'm watching a couple different clips, Rob. If you can take one of these clips, take the one that says 72 women in heaven. Have you seen this one? I don't know if you guys seen this clip or no. Vinny, have you seen this clip?
No.
So this young girl asks a
72
question,
virgins?
I haven't seen this.
and says, "Hey, if men go to heaven, then they get 72 virgins. What do women get?" It's a very fair question. Go ahead, Rob.
My mother says that in heaven, by Muslim, men get 72 women, good. But in Christian, we go to heaven with our family. And I want to know what kind
What
of
a
heaven
question.
in Muslim for women.
As far as the question is concerned, that if the men go to heaven, they'll get 72 hur, that beautiful woman. What will the woman get? The same question was asked to Hazrat Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, who's the wife of the Prophet. So the wife of the Prophet replied that the woman will get that which your heart hasn't desired, what your eyes hasn't seen, what a ear hasn't heard about. That means, inshallah, you will get something equal. What your heart hasn't desired, what your eyes hasn't seen, what a ear hasn't heard.
What does
72 Prada purses. That's what he should have said. You're going to get 72
Or maybe you
Prada
get
purses.
72 dudes.
What does that mean?
I actually cannot follow that theologically.
I can't either.
I don't know
Can
what
you
he
go
means.
back? I'm trying to really understand. This is a pretty.
I'm not making jokes.
No,
I
I'm not
honestly
either.
don't understand.
I'm trying to get smarter with this. Go ahead
He
and play
doesn't
that
know what he's
clip.
talking about.
No, go a little bit further down, Rob. No, down, the other way. Yeah. Other way. Keep going. It's from the
And
part
he
that
should
says
get a
when the
yarmulke that
women.
fits.
Right, pray from right here. The same question right there. Yeah.
The same question was asked to Hazrat Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, who's the wife of the Prophet. So the wife of the Prophet replied that the woman will get that which your heart hasn't desired, what your eyes hasn't seen, what a ear hasn't heard about. That means, inshallah, you will get something equal. What your heart hasn't desired, what your eyes hasn't seen, what a ear hasn't heard.
You're
Yeah.
getting.
What does that mean to you, Tom?
I actually was trying to look up a separate verse and see if I could correlate it. I don't know.
What does that mean to
what
you,
he's
Vinny?
talking about. It says that you will get what your heart hasn't desired, what your eye hasn't seen. So you're going to get something mysterious that you don't know about.
What if she doesn't like
Because your
it?
heart hasn't seen it, your eyes hasn't,
And your ears
your
haven't
eye
heard
hasn't
it.
seen it, your heart hasn't described it, hasn't your
Desired
heart
it.
hasn't desired, your eye hasn't seen, your mind hasn't.
Your ears haven't heard. It doesn't make any sense. I right then and there, I would have been like, okay, this guy's full of it. You're going to get something that your heart hasn't desired? Then how do you know that you're going to like it if you haven't desired it? Because the men want virgins because they desire these women that haven't been touched and that are clean, and then you want something that your ears haven't heard. Now that is a horrible sales pitch for women to get to that heaven. It's ridiculous.
Well,
I'm not sold.
Look, I'm being actual serious. It's hard to fight someone that values death more than they value life. And that's what these jihadists actually believe. The whole phrase is, there'll be peace when your children value life more than they value death. Because when you value death and you're just thinking of paradise and you have this 72 virgin, theory, which was basically exposed by this woman. She's like, yeah, well, if I go to heaven, what do I get? Mm-hmm. And he's basically like, I don't know, whatever your heart kind of doesn't desire or want, or whatever that weird interpretation was. But the bottom line is, this is what leads to jihad and martyrs and suicide bombings and terrorism and basically a lack of care for civilians and civilian life. And this is what leads to what we've seen go on in the Middle East. Now, there's plenty of people at fault here. Nobody does not have blood on their hands, including the U.S., including the Israel, including Saudi, including Iran, including Hezbollah, Hamas. Everyone's guilty of a little piece. But this is the core belief that is the centerpiece of the biggest issues in the world today, in my opinion.
And it's a very interesting correlation. I go to the Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 7. Says, we declare God's wisdom, and there is a mystery that has been hidden, and that God has destined for our glory and our benefit, and he did so before time began. Because no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human mind has conceived the things in heaven and what God has prepared for those who love him, an eternal blessing. So they're talking about the richness of heaven in a positive sense. And I find it very interesting that whatever he's quoting, I'm not familiar with that, but I find it very interesting that God's talking about a great blessing and you cannot even imagine what I have for you. The same thing we say to our kids. You have no imagine what the blessing I will put on you, if you're going to behave and you grow up properly. That's what God is saying to us. Mm-hmm. This I don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I think about this and I think about negotiating with someone that has very differing values than you, who wants you dead, at least the part you got to respect about Khamenei is he doesn't go to Bandar Pahlavi or whatever the name is today and walk on the sand and put 8647. He just says, death upon America.
Straight up.
James Comey plays games.
Yes.
Khamenei talks to you straight up.
Yeah,
You got to
I
respect
respect
it.
that.
Yeah, there's a part of it that's admirable that they do it that way. But
Tehran.
we do have different values and principles. We got a special merch drop today with these 4 states. If you want to play this clip, we have officially 4 hats, each representing Florida, California, Texas, and New York. What's wild about these 4 states is I lived in California for 24 years, longest I ever lived in a state. I lived in Texas for 5 years. I've been in Florida for 4 years. And we own the minority owners of New York Yankees. So there is something going on with each of these 4 states. And it happens to be the top 4 states that we have here. These hats will go like this, okay? Because they're limited. We don't have a big supply of them. But the Florida one is going to sell out in minutes like it always does. Why? Because it is numbered 1 out of 250. And when you order those, they come in this box, the Valuetainment Future Looks Bright box with the hat inside of it. Florida's is going to have the red back lid, which is not lid. What do you call this thing here,
That's
Vinny?
their flag.
What do you call this, Vinny? Here, this is
snapback.
The snapback. And then you have Florida's flag here with Florida's map on the side. And then you got same thing with Texas, with New York, with California. So here's what we're going to be doing. 2 things. You got the shirt, sweaters, and the hats. Limited supply. Anybody that places the order, the first 100 are going to get a Future Looks Bright keychain, or you see the keychain right there. Whether you order 1 hat, 2 hats, or whatever you order, you're going to get those right there. However, I want to show you something crazy I sent to Chris this morning. Rob, go to eBay. Go to eBay if you can, and type in Future Looks Bright. This is absolutely wild. So if you go to eBay, Vinny, have you seen this lately? Future Looks Bright. Look what's there. Look at this.
$400.
These numbered hats end up, but watch this, $800 for one of them. Keep going. Okay, keep going. $249.
Last one. That means you already sold one.
Listen to this. Let it go lower. Watch what happens here with the rest of them. Okay, keep going. It's becoming a marketplace on eBay on some of these guys. Some of them, the super fans buy, they wear it. I absolutely love it. You're going to see me on Jesse Waters tonight.
$10,000? Are you serious?
But I mean, that's how numbered stuff goes. He's got the 1 out of 250, though. So if you go lower, tonight when I'm on Jesse, by the way, even that backpack, we sold them. It's $2,028 for a numbered backpack. There was only 100 of them. We did limited. The red ones. We'll never do it again. The other one was the Future Looks Bright, the white and the gold, $3,000. Anyways, gang, if you believe the future looks bright, we want 1 million people wearing this gear, sporting it all over the place with the Valuetainment brand. Go to vtmerch.com, place the order. And those of you guys that are in the PBD Podcast circle, you were told about this before anybody else, as well as the PBD Entrepreneur Circle. If you join the circle, you get these merch drops before anybody else. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.